Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's virtual plant clinic. My name is Dr. Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida Extension here in Hernando County. And today I'm here with my regular co-host, Lily Browning, who's the Hernando County Florida Friendly Landscape Coordinator. And this is almost becoming like unusual when the two of us are actually on here
I know,
together, isn't it?
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a busy spring, and we have a whole lot more coming up. We're going to share with you details once again in a little bit on our Earth Day celebration coming up on Saturday in
Saturday.
2 days.
Woohoo! Yes. Coming up
Yeah, I
very, very
wonder. I,
soon.
I guess I have to go through my list of all the things that I need to pack and load and take care of and get ready for that.
I've
But it's
started
going
a
to be
list.
great.
I've
We're going to have a
started
great
a
time.
list of what goes in the van and what I need to bring. Yes. Good
Yeah,
morning.
yeah. If I don't make a list, it gets forgotten.
Yeah, yeah. I've got tables, tablecloths, um, rain barrels, of course, but those are only for the people who are registered for tonight's rain barrel workshop. We're having a virtual workshop this evening. It is pretty much full. Um, and then the people participating in that will pick up their rain barrel and their compost bins at 9ish at the Earth Day celebration, and we encourage them, of course, to stay and be a part of the Earth Day celebration. And everyone else is welcome to come too. So
Yes, I'm thinking that we're probably going to get a pretty good turnout, and it's not supposed to rain. Other than that, I think the weather's supposed to be nice.
yes, and good news. Good news.
What's your good news, Lily?
Thanks to Hernando County Parks and Recreation, at least just a short drive down the road from the Hernando County Master Gardener Volunteer Nursery, there's a little park, little tiny park that's usually locked up, um, called Lonnie Colburn Park, and it will be open. Do you know why that's important, Bill?
Why are we going to go there and have a picnic at the park?
Maybe we can afterwards, but no, because they have bathroom facilities. Yay!
Yay!
So Parks and Rec, Chris Linsbeck, the director, I've been emailing him, and he was kind enough to say, yes, we'll have that park open because generally the Master Gardener Nursery does not have bathroom facilities.
You are correct.
So they are, I'm not going to say the bathrooms will be convenient, but they'll be
Nearby, in the
nearby.
neighborhood.
Yes, yes. Good morning, buddy. So that was a very important accomplishment, I felt, that we got done. The other things that'll be happening at our, the gardeners will have obviously their nursery open, and they have a variety of native and or Florida friendly plants. They just did a trip to a native plant nursery, didn't they, to stock up their own supplies.
Yes, they did go, and they have new stock on native plants, and they also
Milkweed,
have native
milkweed,
milkweed.
milkweed, milkweed, milkweed.
Now, I don't know
Yoo-hoo!
how much they
Yeah.
had. I just was just verifying the charge this morning. They picked it up earlier this month. I'm sitting here looking at the receipt, and I'm not sure how much they still have left, but they try to keep native milkweed in stock because
It's
we
important.
encourage people to plant native milkweed for the monarch butterflies, a lot of interest in that. Then they go, great, where do I get it at? And
Yes.
it's really, really hard to find. You can't find it at most big box stores, nurseries, Walmarts.
The
There's no more
problem
Kmart's,
is
Targets.
with the milkweed, the problem is, well, there's 21 native milkweeds in Florida growing wild, but only 3 of them have been so far successful to propagate and market. They're working on more. They're working on others. I hear the Sand Hill um, milkweed, which Brenda has growing wild in her yard. She's very lucky that way.
Hmm.
Um, they're working on making that a transportable, sellable type um, propagatable item. Is that a word? Propagatable?
It is now, so it
Yeah,
works for me. I understand it.
yes. Because it's very, very important to utilize the native milkweed, because the tropical milkweed that you buy in our big box stores, I don't have time to get into it right now, but it's just every day there's more problems with it. It's very problematic. So
exactly, it's a long story, but it's just, trust us, it's problematic.
yeah,
And it works. The caterpillars will eat it and they will reproduce on it, but it's not your best choice. There's other milkweed choices. There's much more than just that one species of milkweed out there.
yes. So anyway, so that's why the gardeners try to have some available. What else is going to be happening there? We're going to have Dr. Kathleen Shields, who's a volunteer master gardener of yours, talking about propagation. At a certain time frame, I'd have to see the flyer to see when.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't have the time on. Yeah, I do. 10 to 10:45. She will be talking about pollinating plants, pollinating insects, how to attract them. And so then from 11 to 11:45, our friend Alice Mary Hurden, who's a freelance photographer, fantastic photographer, she's going to be, it's going to be kind of informal, but she'll be going around the nursery looking at the flowers and finding insects and all of that, and teaching anyone who's interested how to capture those, whether you have a real regular camera, Canon, Panasonic, whatever, mirrorless, mirrored, whatever, or even just with your phone. And she'll probably then go over how to use different apps like iNaturalist and some other apps that are out there. So because she is one, I'm happy enough usually to take the pretty picture. She wants to know what she took a picture of. We both know that, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Because she will often ask us. So she's gone beyond us to find out some, everything, every little insect out there. So I think it'll be more than just how to capture them well. It'll be how to learn about what you have captured as well. And Rita Grant is a native plant expert. She will be there with a booth with some native plants as well as all her expertise. We will have master gardeners. Bernie, everyone here knows Bernie, who watches us regularly. I think that is the main reason to go, to meet Bernie in person. Don't you, Bill?
There you go. You can experience asking him a question face to face and getting his opinions and comments on it, and a correct diagnosis and advice on what direction you can go in trying to deal with it or cure it.
Especially if you want to know about lawns and chemicals and weed killer and all that stuff, questions. I'll answer about lawns. I don't answer about weeds and insects, insecticides, and any chemicals. I send them either to you or Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
So great person to go for that. He knows a lot of things. And good news, Mrs. Bernie will also be there. Sue is coming. Her other plans for the day fell through. She's also a volunteer master gardener who's also very knowledgeable. So, and she does many, many things, many interests. I try to get her to bring some wild birds of prey, but where she volunteers with that, they're not letting the birds leave right now. And I think we're just going to have a whole lot of fun. Great things will be going on. Great place to stop on your way to the Blueberry Festival if you happen to be going to the Blueberry Festival in downtown Brooksville on Saturday. So, and you and I will be there, won't we? Yay.
Yes, we will be. I'll be there bright and early in the morning.
Yep, me too. And Carmen Bruno, Hernando County Recycling Coordinator, he'll obviously be there to give out the compost bins to people who are in the workshop this evening, but also to answer your questions about recycling in Hernando County. And if you have any problems with getting recycling bins, he's the guy to go see for sure. So.
And if you have any questions about the rain barrel classes or recycling bin classes, I already put Lily's email up, and we'll put it up again before the end. So go ahead and
compost bin classes.
Composting classes, yes.
Yeah. You don't need a class for recycling bin. You put in your recycling and put it on the curb.
That's all I do.
We could do in a class that says, this says 3, put it in the bin. So.
But yeah, we should have a really good turnout on Saturday. And do you know who else is supposed to be there? Probably not very first thing, but
I don't know.
It's going to be Kashmir, the Earth Day dog. And you can see that he's resting up, but he'll be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and hopefully out there greeting everybody, meeting everybody, getting petted by everybody. That's his favorite part. He loves that.
So he's driving in later.
Yeah, he'll be driving in later. So.
Okay.
And we will be on Facebook. We'll be on Facebook Live on and off in the morning, because surely one of our phones will get decent service out there. And if not, Kashmir's personal driver will be bringing the portable Wi-Fi. So we should get service one way or another.
Terry has a very good point that people do recycle the wrong stuff all the time. And that is called wish cycling. And it doesn't, a lot of people think, well, if I just throw this in here, that will make them recycle it. No, that does not happen that way. That could make them reject the entire load. You're very correct. And as I was saying that, I have been trying to plan one of my Wednesday morning classes to be recycling inside and out. And I keep moving it because my plans keep changing. But I was going to do it yesterday, and then there was a school thing for the week I had to do. Then I moved it to June, and then I found out I'm going on vacation that so I'll get maybe July. Carmen and I will have the recycling inside and out, and that will be something he definitely brings up about the wish cycling or the throwing things that should not be in there, which could contaminate the whole load. And the other thing I really, really, really want him to bring up, because it's annoying me to death, is that it's amazing how people who should be on the same side, just put out this wrong information to promote like their own product or something, that recycling isn't really happening anymore. That I'm seeing that in, supposedly, groups that do care about, the earth and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't answer for everywhere, but in Hernando County, yes, I can't remember the percentage that Carmen told me, but it was somewhere up near like 60 or 70, maybe higher percent of our materials that we send to the recycling center do get indeed recycled. It is happening. Mm-hmm. Is there a huge market for it right now? No, but we're breaking even right now. So don't stop recycling. It is still happening. And of course, the best thing to do on the front end is not to create the waste to begin with, and do everything you can not to do that. But recycling is certainly still happening. So thank you. Terry and I just gave a class, a mini class on recycling. So.
Yeah, that'd be a really interesting class, and that would make a very informative, worthwhile video also, because we record pretty much all of our classes.
Yep.
And they remain on my YouTube or Hernando County Government's YouTube, or if we put it just directly on the Facebook, it stays in the Facebook videos. It's up there somewhere. Sometimes someone will ask me about a video and I have to stop and think about, where did I put that? Where is that?
Oh, yeah. Well, most of mine, almost every one of mine are on Hernando County Government YouTube, so that makes it easy for me. And I've been referring people, with what I've talked about today, go watch these things too. And then I end up putting like this whole line that watch this and watch this and watch this, because we cover that subject in all of those. So.
Exactly. And if somebody has a question that's covered very well by one of our recorded classes, it's easiest for them to watch the class.
And you just got an email where somebody mentioned that, she works And so she watches the recorded versions of these programs, and we have encouraged her to really start gardening. And she's going to be at our rain barrel and compost class tonight.
And she's probably going to watch the recorded version of this evening or something.
No, she's going to be on the rain barrel workshop tonight. She'll have to watch this Friday evening.
Okay. Busy life, so full schedule. So this is an email that I got the other day from Leslie, and she included a number of pictures also. She had a lot of problems with mostly caterpillars on her vegetables, so I answered the question and sent her some recommendations. But she said, thank you for your let's go down to the original one here. Good morning, Dr. Lester. I've been watching the videos that you and Lily have on the Hernando County Government YouTube channel, so it's nice to see that somebody's watching, and was motivated to try gardening for the first time. I'm sending you this email because I'm unable to attend your live stream plant clinic as it conflicts with my work hours. So that is exactly why we record this stuff, because I'm at work right now. As you can kind of see behind me, I'm actually, believe it or not, at the office today. And Lily, where are you?
I'm at work.
Okay, so some of us do work and we're not able to watch this live, but it's great that we create something like this and make it available for people who have to work, and they can watch it this evening with dinner, whenever they want. They can watch it as many times as they want also. So I sent Leslie back an email and answered her questions about the pictures that she sent with the caterpillars, and asked her where she lived, because since here on the virtual plant clinic, we have like buddies up in the Panhandle, we have people down in Broward County, Pinellas, they're from all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I asked her, do you mind if I ask where you live, to find out if she's local or not? She said, to answer your question, I'm watching from Brooksville. I'm very excited about what I have learned from watching you and Lily, which is great. We like to hear that, guys. And I'm eager to accumulate more knowledge. I'm taking the rain barrel class tomorrow, meaning tonight. So she's going to be online with us live this evening. Mm-hmm. And she said, my yard is now the backdrop for what I'm calling the biggest science experiment I've participated in. And I thank you for the inspiration. And that's great, because my backyard is always a science experiment. I'm always trying to grow new things, or grow it differently, or grow it at a different time of year, or doing something a little bit different to see, does it work? Is it a failure? And that's the only way that you're going to find out. So.
And when your grandkids come over, you take them out at night to look at the different bugs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, there's cool bugs at night. There's cool bugs during the day.
You don't throw the grandkids over the fence to the neighbors, do you?
No. They're too heavy now. It's just a fence. So.
Yeah.
But Diana makes a very, very important point here.
She does. We should have made that the ticket to get in, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should have. Well, we could try doing that in the future. Bring something to recycle. And we'll have Carmen there with his trailer. But our Master Garden nursery needs nursery pots, especially 1 gallon ones. They're very, very hard to buy, believe it or not. With all the different supply chain issues and shortages, we're not able to order 1 gallon pots. They're on permanent back order. So if you have any old pots in your shed, bring them by the nursery. They would definitely appreciate it.
That makes me concerned for the compost bins. We won't have any compost bins available in May. Hopefully, Carmen will get some ordered for June or July. But, with this back ordering issues, that does make me concerned. We
can't guarantee it till they get here, basically.
I've got another 100 rain barrels coming in. I have about 75 in storage. I keep up with this stuff. I'm good, but I say that. Watch me, run out of rain barrels due to supply issues too.
I guess he waits until there's 2 left and goes, "Oh, I guess I need to order more."
He kind of blamed his worker for not telling him. So I don't have one of those workers to blame anything on. So I know how many rain barrels I have. I just counted them. said, I didn't count them before they were hatched, but I counted them, and I have about one on order, but I haven't heard from the company. Hopefully 100 more will be coming in. So trying to order a bunch while they are still at the same price point, because they did jump up from 50 to 64.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to order them ahead before they jumped up to like 80 or something. And the next group, starting in July, the price will go up again, but only to $65. So trying to stay
You
ahead
should
of that.
start hoarding them.
Nah, we got lots of people interested. They're moving out. Then we have 2 workshops a month, so I at least get rid of about 30 a month or so.
That's good. That's great. That shows there's a lot of interest in rain barrels.
Yes. Not get rid of, distribute.
And we have a question here from Angie Dave, one of our loyal followers and viewers, about trimming pigeon peas.
That's a Bill question. I don't even.
Pigeon peas are a tropical vegetable. It's a tropical bean, and I know it's very popular in Central American and Mexican cuisine. I've never tried growing them myself.
They're not made from pigeons, are they?
One of the few vegetables that grows really well during the heat of summer here. One of those weird tropical ones that aren't more, traditional European type vegetables. Mm-hmm. It turns into basically a bush, a fairly large bush. They really don't require any trimming. Obviously, if there's any dead branches, broken branches that have been severely damaged by insect pests, although I don't think they get many insect pests either. They're going to be susceptible to the normal ones that you would encounter in the summer: aphids, spider mites, probably whiteflies. So you have to keep an eye on them. Probably spray them with insecticidal soap to control those very small insects. But there's really no trimming or pruning that's involved. Just let them grow and let them flower, let them produce. I'm going to have to look that up now, because you can buy them at the store. You can buy them dried and canned, and I'm not sure of any good recipes for pigeon peas. If anybody watching has any pigeon pea suggestions, chime in.
Do pigeons eat them? Why are they called pigeon peas? Are they made out of pigeons? Are they shaped like pigeons? I'm getting caught up on this one word, as you can see.
Now, I don't think they have an awful lot to do with actual pigeons. They're not grown for pigeon food.
Maybe doves in general like them?
Okay. There's an EDIS document on that.
Wow.
And it says the pigeon pea plant is an erect, annual, or short-lived perennial. So it's going to live for a year, or it may live for a couple years. It reaches a height of 3 to 10 feet and grows in poor soil. Let's pull up a picture here. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Lee says rice and pigeon peas with coconut milk. That sounds
that sounds interesting.
Sounds like Cuban cuisine or something. South Florida kind of. Sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a legume or a bean that's widely propagated in the tropics for the edible seeds and pods. And it's an important food plant in the West Indies. It says they are not grown in gardens or commercially to any great extent in the United States. Although in 1950, they had 10,000 acres of it growing in Hawaii. And I think I'm going to have to try growing it.
Yes. So it's kind of a Caribbean.
Yes, it is.
Thing. Interesting. And I think if we want to start experimenting, we do need to experiment with the more tropical things because of it's getting warmer. The weather is really wild and goofy, but it is definitely getting a few degrees warmer each year. So, if you're going to experiment with the tropicals.
Exactly. And a lot of people will move here to Florida from up north. And up north, they grew all their vegetables during summer. And here, there's not a whole lot you can grow during the summer because it's just too hot, too wet, too humid, too many different pests. So you're really going to want to experiment with some of those different tropical vegetables if you're trying to put in a food forest or a garden that's giving you some kind of production year round. Mm-hmm. So we all know that okra is a really good choice for the heat of summer. Mm-hmm. And okra, I like okra. Not everybody does. It's essential for good gumbo. And Terry says that the pigeon peas are traditional in Puerto Rican Christmas meals made with rice. I know that I've heard that before. It's a holiday, Christmas holiday kind of thing. And you can grow them to build up your soil. So Tari also says, also used to just cut and add green nitrogen to permaculture food forests. So it is a nitrogen-fixing bean.
It's a legume. It'll help fix the nitrogen in the soil. Yep.
Can use it as a cover crop.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Dave says you can add ginger, turmeric, with coconut milk after you've boiled your peas. Yeah, I'm going to have to look up recipes online and try this.
Yeah.
So my wife's going to go, pigeon, what? She's going to be like you, pigeon peas? Is that something that you feed to pigeons?
She's going to concentrate on that one word like I have.
She's going to go, I don't like that. Have you ever tried it? No, but... And let's just go ahead and switch from pigeon peas right over to fire bushes. So Monique asks, are there different varieties of fire bush? Some seem to grow back from the freeze from the bottom, and some have leaves all over. I hate to trim mine from the bottom. It's large.
Well, the answer is yes. The Hamelia patens is your native. Hamelia Patens. Why is that important? It's important to native plant people because they will claim that the non-native fire bushes do not attract as many pollinators. So I must have just the natives because mine and yours out front, Bill, only grows from the bottom up. So yeah, they freeze and then you just have a bunch of sticks, and I don't see any leaves coming up on the frozen sticks that are left. It comes from the bottom up, just like a hibiscus does the same thing. So I'm not aware of any varieties where they might start leafing out on the, the stems that were left, but that doesn't mean that there's not some.
So. I know that there is a dwarf fire bush now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a different species of plant, it's just a different cultivar.
Cultivar, yes. And there's some, the natives will be more orangey, I believe, and some of the non-natives have more of a brighter red. But always the more that a human was involved in the making of the plant, then the less chances that pollinators are going to recognize it as a plant. Doesn't mean they won't, but, of course, what was there from the beginning is all, that's just how evolution works. So the pollinators are going to recognize it more. So, Monique, it's interesting that yours is so large, but of course, being in downtown Brooksville, you have all that wonderful tree cover, so you probably have a nice microclimate, because mine never gets above my hips before it freezes. But other people say theirs get, very large. Although mine is coming back, I think, faster this year. It's not very old. It's only a couple years old. So maybe it comes back bigger each year before it freezes. I'm not sure.
The only one I have in my yard ended up like the one here at the office, frozen back very, very badly. Plus mine at home, I just recently transplanted before it froze. So I just cut it back to maybe that high, literally back to the ground, and it instantly is sending out new branches. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, they'll come back and they'll come back.
It'll be flowering by next week, I think.
Sure. I've already got butterflies on mine looking for the flowers. So.
And there are dwarf fire bushes. You have to get them from a nursery, and you have to make sure that it's the dwarf variety, or you can buy it online. You can get anything online. Do you have any idea how large they get? Yeah, because dwarf is a very relative term.
It is, yes. I just smaller than the original ones. I don't.
Native ones will get 10, 12 feet tall if they don't freeze.
Yeah, I'm sure down further south, yes, they do. Or, where Monique is, probably has wonderful, nice oak trees that are providing a microclimate or something. I've never gotten one big enough to make great firewood, but I guess it could.
In theory, you could, because those branches get an inch or two across. They get really large.
And I don't know about if there's any poisons in that firewood or anything, so I'm not gonna I am not gonna be the one to recommend it. Like oleander, you will burn your eyes out or something if you try to burn it. So Lee's is 6 feet. Lee's.
Yeah, and Lee's wouldn't freeze back either down there.
Yeah. And
Monique's is about 7 feet.
Yeah, I know. In Brooksville, you've got that wonderful soil.
Yeah, it's going to hold the water longer. You don't have to add a lot of extra irrigation.
I lived there in the city of Brooksville for 22 years. Literally would throw stuff on the ground and it would grow. It is a little bit harder out further west, closer to the Gulf where I am now. And it's further north, and it's in the sand hill areas, so it's not like a dense canopy. So when a cold front comes through, it just freezes everything. So.
Yeah, and even though mine was cut back to just literally a few inches high, I'm sure that by the end of the summer, it's going to be back up to 6 feet. And with mine, any of the little thin branches that it gets at the very, very bottom that are kind of like laying on the ground, I try to keep those pruned off. So I don't really train it to a tree shape with a bare trunk. That's just going to be way too difficult.
Right.
I try not to have too much laying on the ground growth heading side to side. And that's all I do to it. Other than that, it's very zero maintenance pretty much. Lily, here's a question for you.
Shade-friendly native plants. Well, I always go with wild coffee for shade-friendly native plants.
Ours does great here at the office. We have a very shady spot right outside of my window, and that's where
I can understand that.
I think 3 varieties of wild coffee.
You're casting shade. That's why it's right outside your window.
Yep.
Yeah, wild coffee. Beautyberry does okay-ish, in the shade.
Gets leggy.
Yeah, it'll reach for the sun. So like on the edge of the shade, maybe. Oak leaf hydrangea. It's another one that will love the shade.
Native azaleas.
Wild petunia wants the sun. That's the only place I've ever seen it, pretty much, is in the sun. And Elliot love most of the grasses want sun, but will do okay in the shade-ish. But they're happier in the sun. The purple love grass, the Elliots, love grass. Most of your bunch grasses, they do want sun. Fakahatchee will grow in a shady area, and that's that'll make like a shrub for you, because mine are growing in a pretty shady area and look great. So, Also, that wild coffee, we were talking about dwarf varieties. I keep mentioning it's because it amuses me. Wild coffee's Latin name is Psychotria nervosa.
Mm-hmm.
Very fitting with wild coffee. Psychotria nervosa.
Good stuff. Not wild, but.
So they have a cultivar of it that is a dwarf, and its cultivar name is Little Psycho. Now, again, the native, the purist, natives, the people, the native plant purists, that's what I'm trying to say, will tell you to avoid anything with quotations and a, given name that means it's a cultivar, because that is, again, one step away from its native, being.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cassandra, yeah? How to do, and if you're going with non-natives, impatiens, gingers, various gingers. Pinecone ginger, is that a native? I'm
not positive. It grows like a native here.
Yeah. That does fine in the shade too.
Most gingers are going to do well in the shade. There's a few that like more sun or handle more sun.
Mm-hmm. What is the low ground cover? Peacock ginger. That's not a native, but that's great in the shade. So.
Any suggestions on cuttings of jasmine plants?
What do you mean? How to cut them, or how to?
I can tell you that they're very easy to root. Confederate jasmine, you can take cuttings off of it, put it in moist soil, keep it moist. It's a very, very easy to root plant.
I just walked by a neighbor who it's blooming now all over his fence, and it's very potent. I mean, it was almost giving me a headache, kind of potent.
Yeah. If you have a lot, some people find it a little bit too strong when it flowers. And those flowers attract a multitude of anything from honeybees to butterflies to wasps also. Not everybody likes wasps. I like them just fine. I don't like them when they get in the office on occasion, but I like wasps just fine. Not everybody does, so keep that in mind before you cover a 50-foot long fence with Confederate jasmine.
They have a very, very important part in our ecosystem. Some pollinating, but mostly predation of our, the insects we don't want around.
Caterpillar control.
Also keeping just the balance of nature, going.
Yes, they keep the number of caterpillars under control. So if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll do our very best to either answer them or, like I had to do with the pigeon peas, look them up. I'm going to have to try them. I've never grown them before. I need to try buying them at the grocery store and cook them in a recipe.
How would you suggest propagating the jasmine? Just cutting off small pieces and putting them in little pots?
Sure. If it's the Confederate jasmine, cutting off a short, maybe 6 inches long branch.
Taking off most of the leaves.
Yeah. And putting it in a container of moist, not soaking muddy wet, but just constantly moist soil, and putting it in a shady spot and being patient, and almost all of them should root.
Or if you don't need, just poke them in the ground and they'll grow. See, I'm jealous of where she lives.
Sure, there's some things where you can literally cut off a branch and throw it on the sidewalk and it roots. Some plants are very easy to root. Yes. Other ones are very difficult to root, so you have to know the difference. So if anybody has any questions, and if you're watching the recording of this and you have any questions, you can give our office a call. There's the phone number. If you call during working hours, chances are Teresa will answer the phone, and she's more than happy to answer your question or help you out. she can't figure it out, she sends it to me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Which some days isn't very soon,
Yeah.
but
And that is the thing you and I were just discussing, how really, really, really it is. If you really want to hear from us, within a decent amount of time, email us. It's so much easier. We can even email you back, sometimes from home or whatever, but waiting for a phone call might take more time, because we also then have to set that time aside to be able to have a decent conversation with you. And that's kind of what Bernie, can help you with on Thursdays, when he has the time as a volunteer to spend a lot of time, discussing your particular issue with you. And we wish we had more time for that, but we're going in so many different directions too.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you have a specific question, if you just send us an email with pictures, lots of pictures, there's no such thing as too many pictures. A lot of times we can figure out what's going on from that and answer you and send you links to more information, maybe a video that we've done in the past that explains the whole process. We got a question the other day that was a little bit wide open or vague. I don't want to say vague, but it was really vague.
How do you grow turf in the sand? That was that question?
Yeah, how do you grow a lawn in the sand? Well, that's a pretty wide open question.
Yeah, how many hours do you have? So, yeah. I just ended up sending her links to information and to some of our videos, and then look all this over and then get back with us for more specifics. Now, we did have that one specific question about air. What am I trying to say?
What?
Aerating.
Aerating, yes. Aerating your lawn. And I emailed the lady back about, why do you want to aerate your lawn? Because that's rarely done here in Florida. If you have a heavy soil, or if you have a piece of property where you've had a lot of car and truck traffic, you've been parking trailers, boats, things like that, maybe it's become compacted and maybe it needs to be aerated, but normally you don't do that here. And she emailed back that she had bare spots in her Bahia lawn and she wants grass there. So, well, you don't have to aerate it, just put down Bahia grass seed, keep it moist. So I sent her links to some University of Florida publications that would help her out, and that one was easily answered through email.
And then I added the suggestion of adding some compost to
Compost always helps.
Improve the water holding and nutrient holding capacity of the soil. But our sandy soil, golf courses aerate, but they put that really, really thick Bermuda grass over everything. No homeowner here really. I mean, our soil is airy enough.
Yeah, because you aerate to fix compaction,
right?
And nobody here has compaction unless you've had like a truck stop in your yard for a while.
Yeah. And even then, it's probably easy enough to break up just a few inches down. I mean, we're on sand. Sand doesn't generally need aerated. That's why, adding the compost is several different ways you can do it. There's a product called Command that you can purchase. Or you can just use black cow or mushroom compost or something to get that in there and really help the texture, basically, of the soil. So.
Yeah, it helps build up the sandy soil, helps to hold water longer, holds nutrients better and longer. So compost is pretty much always a good thing.
Yeah, and those aren't chemical-laden fertilizers, like a lot of them are. Monique says it's amazing how well her grass grew from doing a top dressing of black cow. Mine too. And I just have that freedom lawn that we talk about. But last June, I put some down along with some Bahia grass seed. And it made probably the first time in 14 years I really did much to that lawn at all. Really made a big difference. Even into this year, it is coming back pretty strong. No, that seed. I told you, Bill, I only did the front lawn. 10 pounds of Bahia seed was $70
Ouch.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So when people think, seeding is cheaper than sodding, maybe not anymore. And sodding will get you a more successful lawn if you're starting from scratch or have a lot of bare patches.
I know the price of sod has gone up. I really couldn't tell you off the top of my head how much a pallet of St. Augustine or Bahia goes for, but it's gone up. And when building is booming, as it is now, it's really, really hard to get sod because all the new development gets contracts with the big sod yards and they kind of buy it all up. And it's really, if you want to just get 5 pallets delivered to redo your front yard or your whole yard, however big your yard is, really hard to find sometimes when building is booming. And that's just going to make the price go even higher.
There's a new house on my street. Shocking, I know. And I've never seen new sod like this. It's the worst looking new sod I've ever seen there. It immediately came up with tons of weeds in it.
Uh-oh.
It's like they bought weed sod. And, you and I don't care that much about weed encroachment, but nor do we want to spend money on new sod for an entire yard to have it be immediately. That's all that was there was
Wow.
weeds. Now they mowed it for the first time and it looks a whole lot better for the moment, but I've never seen that come up with the brand new sod, just tons of weeds.
That can happen. I've gotten pictures and questions about that in the past. And I really hate to be recommending weed killers and herbicides for Bahia.
Yeah.
Bahia, it doesn't spread and run, so it's never going to get super thick. To make it thicker, you have to put down more seed to fill in the bare and thin areas. And it's going to get some weeds. Right. And you can spray and spray and spray. You'll never get rid of all the weeds in Bahia without polluting the water so badly you can't drink it.
Purchase them. When nature brings them in, that's one thing. But
yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do about that.
Yeah, Monique says 2,4-D. That's an effective herbicide for Bahia that's safe to be used on Bahia. Don't use it on St. Augustine. It'll kill it.
It has a major drift issue. If there's any wind blowing at all, and it can go miles and affect other plants. So you do have to be very careful with that.
You have to be careful with any kind of herbicide, whether it's Roundup, whether it's triclopyr, any kind of weed killer. If you're spraying it and there's just a little bit of a breeze, the fine mist can blow surprisingly far in just a 5-mile-an-hour breeze, which is a very light breeze. And if it lands on your prized azaleas, petunias, bushes, whatever it might be, it's going to damage them. And we see that sometimes, pictures of dead leaves or spots on the leaves, and there's no insect present, there's no disease present, it's probably herbicide damage. So that happens sometimes too.
And I've seen it in the ag world where somebody used it on, their cow fields, but then it drifted over to somebody else's, vegetable crop or something, and that's what they tracked it down to, and it was a couple miles away.
That's a different herbicide that you can use safely on pastures, and cows and horses eat it, and it's safe for them. Cows and horses a little while later are going to poop, so they'll take the manure and they'll compost it, and this chemical doesn't break down quickly, and heat doesn't particularly break it down. So the compost that you make from the animal's manure the chemical can hold over in it, and if you use that compost in your vegetable garden, it's going to kill seeds and seedlings when you put them in. So that's just another issue with herbicides. That's why when we're talking about composting and we're doing the composting class, we tell people that if you have a service that sprays your yard, be very, very careful about using the grass clippings in your compost. Unless you know what they've used and you've looked it up and you know the ramifications of it, it breaks down quickly, it doesn't break down, whatever it might be. Some things are not a problem, other chemicals are a big problem.
Me too, Monique, that it's just easier. And that's why I refer all the chemical questions to Extension. And I won't say I'm 100%, I probably am 98%, because I will use Andro on fire ants from time to time so I can play fire ant chess with my neighbor. And your move, they're in your yard now, send them back to mine. But yeah, in general, it's just easier for me to not use any chemicals than to worry about how to use them, but if you're a farmer, and it's your business, you have to know that kind of stuff. But just for a general urban yard, live very easily without it. Something starts to be a problem, I cut it off, throw it away. There, I've solved the problem.
Yeah, or you learn to coexist or live
Sure.
with what you have.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if anybody has any last minute questions you'd like to toss in here, I have my email on the screen and that little website address scrolling along the very bottom. If you go to that, Hernando Extension, all one word, .com, is going to have a listing of all of our upcoming classes. And I don't even know what I have coming up. I've been so busy, I got to open my calendar here to see what I'm doing.
Next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I have everything you always wanted to know about your Florida lawn. I taught that at the Spring Hill Library, and a couple people online asked me if it was recorded. Well, no, that one wasn't recorded, but the one I'm teaching on Wednesday, which, by the way, here's a secret, it's the same thing. That will be recorded on Wednesday, so that'll be available on Facebook and Hernando County Government YouTube. May 4th, we have deterring nuisance wildlife. So we're always talking about how to attract wildlife, but there's some you don't want to attract. So you and I are going to do that one. And I just got a question yesterday. A coworker came up and said, who do I call to get rid of coyotes in my neighborhood? Really, nobody is.
Nobody.
Yes. I said, if you're thinking animal control, they're certainly not going to do it. They concentrate on domestic pets. I said, you can try to hire yourself a wildlife removal person, but they're probably going to tell you there's no point in moving coyotes that you feel are in your neighborhood because more coyotes will come to your neighborhood. They're just out there. And we've got to kind of learn to live with them. Isn't that pretty much what UF has come up with, Bill?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to coexist with them, how to be careful. I don't know if there's really ever been any documented attacks on people by coyotes.
Not that I've heard. But I told her, because I have these two tiny little doglets. And sometimes, well, they hassle me to death to take a walk. So I ignore them for a while. And then by the time I do, it's late. So we're coming back in the dark. Well, and there's still a significant amount of woods, even though it doesn't seem like it with all the building that's going on. But with all the building going on, less woods for the coyotes that are out there. So what I end up doing when I'm trying to get home with these teeny tiny dogs is, their leashes become very short and they're walking beside me in the middle of the road. I don't let them on the side of the road at all where, near the woods. I have my phone doing my Audible telling me, reading a book to me so that there's like human noise as well as my own smell. But when it starts getting darker like that, they're right next to me. So, and when I let them out, even they go into a fenced in area, the last let out in the evening, I'm out there with them with the flashlight on my phone. So.
And there's other ways that you could protect yourself. I'm sure maybe we could have your husband on here one day to share some ideas.
Really?
Yeah. something like concealed carry permit, or
Oh,
because coyotes are not protected. They're not obviously not in danger. They're not protected, but we're not going to make recommendations about firearms in neighborhoods.
no.
You need to double check with your local law enforcement and other wildlife officials to find out what you could do to keep yourself and your family safe.
Sure. And like you said, coyotes are not going to go after people. They are, they're afraid of people. But cats, small dogs,
Yes, the really tiny dogs. And hawks can be an issue.
absolutely.
Hawks are birds of prey. If
Owls,
you, some people have dogs that are like 4 pounds.
mhm. Mine are
So the
aged.
real tiny ones,
Mine are aged, so yeah, they could be a nice snack. So I do keep an eye on them. As soon as it starts, the second it turns, from dusk to night, that very second in time, I can hear, and your ears would probably tune them out because you're in a neighborhood, you're thinking dogs, but it's a very specific yip 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 right when it turns dark, and I know those are coyotes out there.
I've never heard that in our neighborhood, but Nora has really late at night, and she says it comes and goes because coyotes will move over a very large area, so they'll come like through the woods in your neighborhood maybe once a month, every 2 months, something like that. They're like on a endless rotation around town, kind of.
Mm-hmm. And they're around everywhere. They are on golf courses. They're in neighborhoods.
They love golf courses. That's a little preserve for them.
If you happen to see them, you can just run at them going, ah, make a lot of noise, or they'll run away from you.
Yeah.
And you have to do exactly that, what I just did.
There you go.
But the main thing is to protect your small pets. And they're not native here. They're kind of naturalized. Well, because I remember in the around mid-90s, my sister bought a house from somebody in Brooksville from an older lady, and she mentioned coyotes, and I just thought to myself, okay, note to self, this lady's crazy. And then, I have learned since then, oh yes, we do certainly have coyotes, and plenty of them. Not only us. I have another sister talking about she saw them in Grosse Pointe, Michigan when she lived there. So, they've just kind of, because they are opportunistic, I guess they're been able to grow in population.
Yes, I believe they moved here on their own, plus 100 years or so ago,
sure, they were brought
people
in.
would bring them here and let them loose for hunting when they had large hunting preserves in Florida, when we were much more rural. But because we seriously reduced the number of panthers and wolves, it created an opening, a niche that coyotes cheerfully filled.
Sure. And of course, people with chickens need to be very careful with them, worried about the coyotes, even like young calves and things like that, which is why a lot of the farmers, I see more and more donkeys around my neighborhood in the farm areas, because the donkeys will, number one, alert, the farmer, but also they will fight the coyotes, whereas the cows won't.
Or a Great Pyrenees.
There you go.
Our Master Gardener president got one to help keep her property and her animals safe.
Mm-hmm.
And like Monique says, don't feed the wildlife.
Don't leave dog food out on your porch. Yeah.
Don't feed the stray cats, because coyotes are just going to eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, Lily, they do have those little outfits with spikes that you can get for your dog. You might want to think about that for Christmas.
There you go.
And Kim, good morning, and thank you. We really have a great time doing these, as you could probably tell. So we're more than happy to be here. And next Thursday, you will probably not be here, correct?
Correct. It is Take Your Child to Work Day. I mean, we're going to have 17 kids here, and one person has been asked to entertain them for a few hours, and I felt that was unfair, and so I volunteered to help her. And since two of them will be mine, grandkids, so probably during the time frame when we're doing stuff with those kids will be like in the morning, so I may not be here. If I am, I might have two other little faces here with me. So.
I'm planning on being here. I'm taking the day off, but I'll pop in for the clinic at least. So we'll go ahead and schedule it, and we'll have it back up on Facebook with all the appropriate links, whether you watch us on our Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube Live. We do all of them, all the above. I'll be here. So if anybody has any burning questions, I'll give it a shot.
You'll do fine.
I hope I can answer all the questions.
Oh, you'll just keep putting that email up there and tell them to ask me.
Sure. Any questions?
There
just
you
follow the email right there.
You can send Bernie the link and have Teresa get him on so he can be a part of it too.
Yeah, I could. Or I'll just we need to get Teresa on here sometime, because Teresa's the person in the background who answers tons of questions that come into the office.
She makes everything happen.
Whenever she's on one of these things, she's the one who's looking up the University of Florida fact sheets and putting the links in the chat and everything before we can get to it.
Monique, come on down on Saturday and meet Bernie. And Teresa.
Teresa will be there running the kids' table. So if you have children, by all means, bring them to Earth Day this coming Saturday. We'll have a fun-filled kids' table there.
Mm-hmm. It should be great. I think to make it, a nice few hours anyway.
Yeah, and like I said, last I saw, the weather's supposed to be nice, so that always helps.
By noon, it'll be hot, so I'll be packing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be out of there promptly by noon, heading off for lunch or something. So.
No, you're going to help me pack up first.
What?
Yeah.
How much are you bringing?
A lot.
Okay, this is just for a couple of hours. This isn't the invasion of Normandy here.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. I need a lot of stuff.
Well, it depends on if Kashmir, the Earth Day Husky, is hungry or tired or something. I might have
and his driver can take care of that, and you can help me clean up.
Yeah. We'll start packing you up early if you have an awful lot. Okay, guys, I don't see any other questions here. We're technically 3 minutes over, so we're not doing too bad time-wise. Showing good time management skills. That's good.
Maybe I'll be able to pop in next week with like 17 kids behind me. We'll see.
Sure, bring them on. Make them all stand behind you, and we can see like the audience and the crowd there. So.
And one of the things that I'm going to do with them is Tuesday I went to a school and talked about water conservation and springs protection. So I had, two different PowerPoints, one for the littles and one for the bigs. But feeling my audience out on which kids come to take your child to work day, I'm going to present one of those, but then after that, they're going to present it, and I will record that, and then that'll be on YouTube, the kids presenting the kids program. So. The kids are Orlando County Utilities. And then they get to spend the afternoon either, with their parent at their desk or riding around for those who are our maintenance people. And then I have to figure out what to do with two of them too in the afternoon. So.
Are you making cupcakes for all of them?
No. No. Rini might do that. You have the day off, so I can't bring them to see you.
Yeah, I do have the day off. Okay, well, thanks again, everybody. And like I said, I'll be back here next Thursday. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and save them up, and we will see you then. So thank you so much for tuning in and participating, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.